And hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome back to my comic dungeon, the yellow walls of death. You can't see most of the collection, but most of my books here. BlueGreen Artifacts is me, Tony Fix. I'm an active buyer and seller on eBay. I've collected for years and years, but I've decided in the last couple of years that I'm going to really focus on turning things around, selling things, and not just holding on to them. If you hold on to something for too long, you lose the opportunity to make money on it. I learned that with sports cards. I watched some of my values go up and then they went down. And I realized that the only people who really make money at sports cards are the people who are selling them in the stores. So that's kind of what I aim to do. I do have my own personal collection, but I am happy having owned a book. I don't need to own it forever. If I owned it and sold it, that is good enough for me. I'm getting right into it. Today we're going to be opening 5 little comic book packages. Last time we also sent some books out. I do have some books to send out. I'm going to skip that part if you don't mind today. Maybe I'll fill you in on what I did sell. But let's get right into what is it in these packages. These have arrived over the last few days, and I'm very curious. Don't get me wrong, I do remember actually buying things, but when they each arrive in different packages, I have no idea what's in each one. And let's get into it so we have something to talk about here. All right, so the first book we've got is, I like it. Yes. So this is a copy of Prodigy #1. This is a variant version cover. There were a lot of variants of these. Mark Millar, this was a series he did with Netflix. It was a pretty short series. Honestly, most Mark Millar series are pretty short nowadays. This was, Mark Millar's catalog was purchased by Netflix, which means any Mark Millar property that wasn't already licensed is now owned actually by Netflix. So they are developing quite a few different ideas of his: The Magic Order, American Jesus, Huck, Jupiter's Legacy, and from what we all understand, Prodigy. So why Prodigy? It got a little bit of heat when it first came out. This is a nice copy. It's probably I would hope it's a 9.8. It got a little bit of heat when it first came out. There's so many properties getting optioned by Netflix right now and all the other streaming services. How do you differentiate between them? Not, like the Warrior Nun just came out on Netflix, and I don't know. They come and go. It might be in the consciousness for a few weeks, and then what? If it doesn't get a sequel, you'll never hear from it again. Those comics will dive back down. So a lot of people are just buying, things that they think could be optioned. And when there is option news, then they're going to sell them for whatever, 10, 15, 20, maybe $30 if you're really lucky. Of course, if I run into a book that's worth 15, if I can buy it for 1, 2, or 3, or even cover price, that's not a bad flip. I'm a little bit higher on this one though, and I'll tell you why. Netflix and the streaming services, they're really looking, they've conquered the TV market. There's a lot of great shows on, series on. I think what they want to do next is not only have a big movie, and there've been a few big movies released on Netflix, but the opportunity to have an actual franchise, something that can be licensed, that can have merchandise, that can have sequels, that can have just some pop culture relevance that lasts for more than 2 months. And in my opinion, I think they have that in Prodigy. If this was done the right way, this could become this generation's Bourne Identity, a franchise of just awesome thrillers. There's comparisons to James Bond. And I even forget his name now, Clayton, the main character. Anyhow, the premise is that he is a genius, like beyond genius. He can solve anything. Very successful in business, becomes rich, and then just gets bored. And because of that boredom, he starts basically trying to solve problems and take on these missions for governments around the world, and uses his ability to solve things and figure things out to become almost like a superhero. Kind of like a more grounded version of Iron Man, I guess, not with the inventions, but with just defeating problems and defeating things with his mind. Plus the fact that it's still about action and guns and fighting and so on and so forth. But anyways, I'm not doing it justice at all. Point being, I'm high on this series because I smell franchise, and that's it. If it becomes a franchise, if there's a movie and then they announce a second movie, then I think these Prodigy #1s go up and stay up in value for a long time. It's a big gamble. You don't know. If it's a bad director, you never know. But that is why I bought that copy of Prodigy. I probably got, I don't know. I'm not one of those guys who buys 500 copies of a book. There might be a few books that I own like 10 copies of, maybe. But I probably got 5 or 6 or 7 of the different covers. Like I said, there were a lot of variants for that. There were a couple store variants, a lot of different covers, like A through F or something like that were released to stores. So in that case, the more rare, the better. If you're going to spend money on one of those, you might as well not get the book that everybody already owns. What do we have here? It looks like 1 or 2 books. I didn't look to see where this came from. I do have a couple books coming from online retailers. I don't do a lot of retailer variants, but if it's a cover that I like, or if it's something that looks promising, I'll jump in. Like I said, I'm trying to buy things that I can sell. This is kind of a hobby for me. This isn't my job. I've got a jobby job, but it's a lot of fun. I like the stock market. I like fantasy football. I like trying to figure things out before other people do. And that's why I like this. Awesome. Hey, this is so cool. All right. So this came from, I'm pretty sure this was from Golden Apple Comics. We have 2 copies of Bitterroot, depending on what part of the country you're from. Number 8, I believe. This is the Purple Rain variant, and this is also the Virgin variant. This was a retailer variant. I believe it was a shared retailer variant between Frankie's Comics and Golden Apple Comics. I am in the Simple Man's Comics Patreon, which means I get their mystery box every month. I believe they just filled up. So get on a list if you can. I lucked out. Brian and Jack, who run Simple Man's Comics, they did get a few of these copies of this from Kevin at Frankie's Comics, and they put them into some of the random boxes. I did luck out and get a copy of this from them as well. I wasn't sure I was going to, though, so that's why I did pick up a couple copies from Golden Apple. And I'll tell you the reason that I wanted it so badly. Pardon me while I'm out of frame, but I'll show you really quickly here. I don't know if you can tell what city I am from, but okay, these are all the purple. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to learn how to show these so you can see them. There we go. Without the glare. Clearly, I do collect the Purple Rain homage covers. Got a couple Spider-Man annuals. Got a Batman. I like that Batman and Robin. A couple copies of that. There was a recent Black Cat homage. Some more of the Spider-Man. Some more of those Batman and Robin. I don't know if there's any other different ones in here. Nope, I think that's, we saw a copy of all those. And yes, I am one of the lucky few to pick up a copy of that G.I. Joe Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow number, was it 19? So I'm from Minneapolis, so I have a very good reason. They're all the rage lately, these Purple Rain variants, but I loved Prince since I was a kid, so gotta represent Minneapolis, gotta represent Prince. Thank you, Brian and Jack, for that copy. Thank you, Golden Apple, for the other two. Like I said, I do buy things to sell. Most of my Purple Rain collection I will probably hold on to. However, as you saw, I try to get multiple copies, so I may hold on to one of each, but if somebody wants to purchase the other ones, that's fine by me. And honestly, even that Snake Eyes, I would probably part with that for the right price. I won't tell you what my right price would be. You would probably laugh. We talked about that a little bit last time too. Pricing. Pricing is an important factor when you're selling, and pricing is something that everybody types in on because everybody can see your prices, obviously. If they think you're too low, they will just purchase your thing right away. If they think you're dead on, you probably won't get a nibble unless you have an offer on the table. And if they think you're too high, you will probably get insulted. It's just how eBay works recently. If you have a price that's above where market is at, you're probably going to get crap for it. But you know what? I don't really care. As we said before, I price books at what I value them at. In my opinion, this is my store. And if I want to put, $40 on something, because if it sells for 30, I would rather keep it. So if it hits 40, then I would part with it. And then that's my value of that book. If that's above what market's paying right now, then so be it. That's fine. Don't buy the book. I'm not forcing you to. It's actually better for me to keep it online, even if I know it's not going to sell for a year or 2 years. It's easier for me to keep it online. Sorry, my hat's all nasty. And kind of keep my inventory in front of me. If I put it in a box, if I know it's something that I would sell and I put it in a box, I may not see it for a year. If it's a book that I think, like Prodigy, I will probably list this. I will list this higher than what it's selling for now. But if there is big news, if Prodigy comes out and has gets huge ratings, then I've got it valued where I need it to be. If it sells at that and blows up, that's great. So I am showing this next book, and I got to figure out how to do this because I can't show part of it or else I'm going to get kicked off of eBay before I begin. So Slab City Comics has done some retailer variants for this series called Patriotica. You've probably heard of Patriotica recently. There have been a lot of big name artists who've done variants for Patriotica. The latest round, Patriotica, it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's good girl art, definitely. There was a Kickstarter. She's very buxom. To be honest, I have not read one of the books. I would be surprised if it was a great story. But you know the comic collecting market. If there is a scantily clad, well-endowed woman on the cover, it may sell well. It just might. So that's kind of their shtick. Not too different from like Vampirella, although there's some story with Vampirella. Lady Death. I mean, there's those books, even Cave Woman, and get into the truly adult books, Cherry Deluxe and all that stuff. Anyways, the latest round of Patriotica covers are kind of, I would call them homage. I don't know if it's an homage though. It's a homage with nudity of famous Adam Hughes covers. So this is, if you can see it, the famous, he did a Supergirl cover. And there's a reason why I have this piece of paper over here. So this is Patriotica. Actually, this is the super rare or whatever limited edition metal variant. So it has, I think it's 19 of 30 on the bottom there, if you can see that. So they do hold value on the market. So there are some of these books that end up selling for $200, $300, $400. And honestly, that's why I bought it. I didn't buy it so I could take a look at comic book. I don't even want to say it, but no, I bought this to sell. It wasn't cheap, but being one of the kind of iconic covers and Adam Hughes homage, I was able to get one of the super rare print books. So I am hoping I'm probably going to list this at about 2 or 3 times what I paid for it. And I'll take a look at it, and I'll look on eBay too to see if it is worth getting graded. We'll see. But either way, whether it's raw or graded, this book will be sold. And it is a nice cover. I mean, even with the, whether you like nipples or not, it's a nice cover. So anyways, didn't really remember that was going to be in this lot. But hey, that's kind of the fun of this. We really don't know what we're getting until we open it up. I'm going to kind of speed up a little bit because my last video was interesting to me, but I think way too long to be interesting to anybody else. So we're going to keep it short and sweet. What do we have here? What is worth specking on? Oh, I know what this is. All right. We have Paper Girls. This is the final issue number 30. And as you can see, it has 2 signatures, Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. So I do believe, yep, comes with a little certificate of authenticity. It came from Midtown Comics. If the condition looks good when I check it out, which it does on the cover at least, I'll probably be sending this off to CBCS. They do have signature authentication or verification. Unlike CGC, that has to witness your book being signed to put a special label on it. CBCS does have the option, if you have a book that you got signed that wasn't witnessed, you can send it off to them. They will verify the signature, compare it with the known signature of that individual. And if it checks out, if they deem that it is an authentic signature, they will give you a special verified signature series label. I'm probably not saying that's perfectly. Up till now, it's been, I have one, but I don't want to dig for it right now. it's been a red label on the top. The CBCS is going through a lot of changes right now with their labels, and the word is they are rolling out actually gold labels now instead of the red. I think it's just a color preference. Red seems like a warning. Gold is as long as it's gold and not just bright yellow. Gold seems to have more value. In essence, it really doesn't matter what color it is, but it does. There are the cosmetic side of things. Perception is kind of reality. So if it's perceived to be a good thing, it's a good thing. So once I've confirmed that they've rolled out the gold labels, I probably will send this off. This is not a rare book. Number 30. This whole series, none of them are rare books. There are no variants for Paper Girls. Paper Girls was there's some news actually just this last couple of weeks. Apparently the script is done. The showrunner tweeted a photo of the script and referred to the project. So there was news last year that it had been optioned by Amazon, and clearly there's been progress. We'll see. Not sure if they're getting ready to film, but it's beyond development. It's into a phase of pre-production or production. So honestly, I think that's great. Brian K. Vaughan is like a comic god. Paper Girls has a chance to be, in my mind, way better than Stranger Things. And just so everybody's aware, Paper Girls actually came out before Stranger Things. So it's not like this is just a girl version of Stranger Things. It was a pretty original idea. And granted, they all kind of, are different versions of a modern Goonies. So everything's paid homage, but it's very different than Stranger Things. It's not really campy. I won't get into the whole story, but I have very high hopes for this series. I think the play on this for people who want to flip, if you can get a good copy of number 1, that's great. But again, there's no variants. The print run was like 75,000 copies. So there is a lot of copies out there. The way that I've been speccing on this series is actually to get the complete set. I've been able to find a lot of complete sets for like $60, $70, $80. If the show explodes, I'm going to sell complete sets for $250 or $300. So that's what I'd like to do. Because it's not a huge series, so it's not going to take up a whole long box. There's a lot of people who have number 1. There's a lot of people that have various issues in between. There's a lot of people who have number 30. But there's not a lot of people who have every single issue. You had to really collect to pick up every single issue. So if you want every single issue, I will have them for sale. Anyways, Paper Girl 30. Sometimes the last issue of a series has a little value. Again, it depends on print run. I'm not really sure what the print run is on this 30, but just the fact that it's a Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chiang signed. It's the final issue of Paper Girls. I picked this up for like $20 or something like that. And I think if this does come back in 9.8 CBCS verified, I think I could put, if the show releases and has some heat behind it, or even just coming up to the show's release, I think I could probably $200 or $250 maybe for a slab. So that's where I'm at. Paper Girls 30. Let's move forward. I have 1 left to go. What do we have here? Thanks for hanging out with me today. As you can clearly see from my number of views, I am quite the influencer. I have got a following. It's like dozens, not even a dozen. What am I talking about? But hey, the fewer people who watch these videos, the fewer people I will be competing with if I want to keep buying some of these things. If this does become popular for whatever reason, that means I will have to come up with new ideas every 10 minutes. So this is the brand new Spec. Along with coming up with my own thoughts of the industry and where I want to put my money and where I think I can maximize my return on investment. I'm a comic collector just like everybody else. I've got Key Collector. I get alerts. If there is an alert, if there's some news that comes out, I try to jump on it just like everybody else. eBay is, if there is an alert, the first thing that goes up are eBay prices. That's not the only place to buy comics online. Jump on Amazon, jump on the other My Comic Shop, Gmart, a lot of the Midtown, even Mile High, a lot of them will have books. This is not in great condition. Anyways, this was one of our alerts this last week, Marvel 2-in-1. Number 54 with Thing and Deathlock. The Saga of Project Pegasus. This is, I believe, the first appearance of Songbird. There is talk of Songbird showing up in, I don't even remember what show it was supposed to show up in. Just for the sake of figuring it out, I'm just going to look. And this is great content, by the way, watching someone scroll on their phone. All right. We've got, where are you? Key alerts. Sorry. I just really want to know what show was this that we were talking about. Gosh, I've missed a lot of alerts the last few days, I guess. Sucks to be me. I want to say it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I honestly don't know. They all blend together, and they're all just rumors. But you know what? If you can pick up a decent copy of like a Bronze Age book or a Copper Age book, even for $3, $4, $5, at the very worst, you're going to break even. It's a newsstand copy. Not that that means a lot for comics of this age. This could use a press, but it does have some color breaks. This is not a high grade copy at all. But who knows? There was a Songbird wagon rolling by, and I jumped right on. So we'll see. I would not have paid the $10 or $20 that they wanted on eBay for those books. I think I did pick that one up for like $4 somewhere. But anyways, that's it for tonight. That's enough. We don't need to chat for the whole evening. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you listening to me ramble while I talk about stuff. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm just telling you what I buy and what I hope to get out of it. So again, bought this for about $4. If there is actual casting news, that's probably when I would try to sell this. Or honestly, even I might even list it now for $15 or $20. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I wasn't able to see the condition before I got it. It's not in that great a condition. This one we talked about, I'm going to get it graded and hopefully sell it for $200, $250 once the show releases. My little naughty cover here. This one actually, I hope to get $300, $400 out of it, which is, I think I paid around $100 for it. So that would be a nice return. This Virgin variant I picked up for, I want to say I paid $20, maybe $25 with shipping. And once we get closer to the show, if there's casting would be huge on this one. At some point, I'll probably put something close to 100 on that if it's raw. We may even grade it. I don't know. We'll see. That's it. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in. I appreciate it. If if you have any questions on these books or anything else to do with flipping or speculating, I'm happy to answer questions. Like I said in the description, I'm not an expert, but I'm not a beginner either. Everybody has their own ideas, and I think that's what you should do too. You should really try to come up with your own ideas. The key is to figure out at least a few things out before other people do. Look around the corner, see what's coming, look at what shows are coming out, and ask yourself questions. Okay, they've talked about the star of the show, Miss Marvel. Who else is going to be in Miss Marvel? What other heroes are going to be in Miss Marvel? Are we going to see some Marvel Rising characters? Who would be the villain? What villain would they pull from for Miss Marvel? Would it be one of the new ones, the Red Dagger or Amulet? Is she going to get some a villain from a different property that's moved over? Whatever it is, whatever you're interested in, just ask yourself questions. Think about make guesses. If it's something that, if you have a cool idea, chances are other people have that same cool idea. If you think something would only make sense if they did it in the movies or Disney Plus shows, then chances are somebody at Marvel is thinking the same thing. There aren't a billion characters. There's kind of a logical progression of how these things are going to go. And guessing even a little bit before other people can make you a lot of money. It really can. So that's my advice. That's all I got for today. Have a good night. Thank you all. And we'll see you next time we get something to open up. Have a great day.